I'm Allendale's chief meteorologist Ryan Martin with a look at your midday weather update. Surface analysis shows that our cool front is making progress. We've seen winds shift to a north and northwesterly direction in Indiana now as the front continues to work through there. So far, precipitation seems to be limited right to the frontal boundary area itself. We've seen some rainfall reports start to trickle in from north central Indiana over the past hour to hour and a half, and we've actually seen some of those rainfall reports go all the way down to near the Lafayette area, so west central Indiana. That's very, very light. Doesn't look like it's going to be a long-term deal, but it does show that this front is progressing eastward into the warm air mass that was sitting over these areas since yesterday. Significant temperature fall off behind this front, and the winds are kicking up as well. Howling winds across the western Corn Belt so far today. Those will probably start to decrease as we get closer to the center of high pressure circulation. I've seen some snow totals from the past 24 hours that honestly surprised me big time. I think we even mentioned this in our online write-up yesterday, and we even mentioned some of these maps yesterday in our midday update. And you know what? I cannot argue with the totals that are coming in, even though it's just baffling to me. But I'm seeing reports of 17, 18, 16 inches in northern parts of Wisconsin, Spooner, Wisconsin, for example. And we're seeing some of these totals go back into west, or rather east central parts of Minnesota, and we're even seeing the band of snow, significant snow, back into parts of South Dakota as well. What's really interesting and almost baffling about this is, we were watching the maps yesterday as this unfolded, and there was a fairly significant lack of radar echoes. So this was a really light, powdery snow, evidently, that was able to pile up a little bit more. Now, the thing is, with the air being as cold as it is, it's not really going to go anywhere over the course of the next few days. It's going to be difficult even to get sunshine out. So, those areas, if there happen to be any fields that still need harvested up there, we're probably going to be dealing with some issues there off and on. Good news is it sounds like most of that is not a problem, especially with harvest advancing like it did on yesterday's crop progress report. So going forward, that surprise aside, going forward, what do we see? Well, close to the low, and right now the low is working through western Michigan, Grand Rapids area. So close to that low, we're going to continue to see chances of precipitation. I'm actually expecting that low to track across southwestern Ontario and then probably try and lift up the Great Lakes chain there, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, and out the St. Lawrence Seaway. That's where I'm expecting the low to go. Close to that, we're going to be seeing more precipitation. And there will be some that comes down the front here yet this afternoon. That will be pretty light. I think the best chance for significant precipitation will be near that low. Then we also need to watch in parts of the central Corn Belt, anywhere near lakes. We're going to have to watch for a little bit more moisture to try and pop up with some lake enhancement, because we're seeing the winds now, instead of going northeasterly across the lake, they're actually now starting to come down, for example, the fetch of Lake Michigan and come across Lake Superior. I think we're going to see some lake enhancement precipitation there in the next 24 to 36 hours, so we'll need to watch that very closely. Going longer term, honestly, computer models at midday aren't showing me much of anything new in the short term that I want to key on. It's just going to be cold and mostly dry. Lake enhancement precipitation possible, but the rest of the region, the rest of the country, honestly, probably will not be seeing a whole heck of a lot. Bitter cold air coming in. We saw a few below zero temperatures this morning in Montana. I'm thinking that is near the core of high pressure, so as that high shifts south and east today, we're probably going to be seeing those single-digit and below zero temperatures sneak into more of South Dakota and into Nebraska. We're even probably going to be seeing single-digit temperatures quite a ways down into Kansas. We had single-digit temperatures overnight last night as far south as the Oklahoma and North Texas Panhandle areas. So there's definitely cold air here. Everything's going to start to shift east then through the day tomorrow and into Thursday, but this cold air mass is here to stay. We'll see a secondary shot of cold air coming in behind a front that passes probably over the weekend, Saturday into Sunday. Eastern Corn Belt Sunday, Monday, and that's going to reinforce temperatures, probably taking them a bit lower early next week than what we've seen so far out of this push of cold air. And then we'll start to see some temperature moderation. As far as the models go, I'm still liking a chance of moisture in there anywhere from the 19th through the 21st. That's when a front's going to be working its way through. We'll have some decent moisture. I really like the moisture down over the lower part of the country, down out of the central plains and coming into the lower Mississippi Valley. But I think the moisture is going to have some decent spread, probably 80% of the Corn Belt as we go through that period. 19th and 20th especially. We're going to be seeing most of that precipitation come in liquid form, although from I-80 northward, we still might be cold enough to keep that on the snow side, or at least a mixed side. Where I still continue to differ from the models is the later part of the extended forecast period. So let's just say from the 22nd right on through the 26th into the 27th. The GFS just really tries to warm us up in a hurry and brings in 2 or 3 frontal boundaries in that warm air that just dump a lot of moisture everywhere, especially deep south, lower Mississippi Valley. As we mentioned in our online write-up this morning, I don't like that. The midday model has not deviated from that at all. I think it's over the top. I prefer more of a muted approach. The European seems to want to hold on to cooler air and drier air longer. I kind of like that just because of the way this air mass has come in. You know, it came in sharp. It was here. Now, I do think once we get a good low to form in the cold air, yeah, we're probably going to look at a significant snow event at some point here over the next few weeks, because I'm not doubting that we can't see a strong storm come in. We're seeing those in the West Coast area right now. I just don't buy into the major warming push that the models are trying to forward right now. So that's the only thing I'm kind of stepping back and saying, oh, hold on, let's wait. Nearby here, everything looks good to go. Cold and mostly dry. That's the way your forecast is stacking up. If you've got any questions on the weather, give us a call at Allendale. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.